Hello, my name is Elana Koehler, and today I'm going to be telling you about my experience as an intern at Augusta Family Magazine. So, this picture is from the mural on the side of the 5-2 Gallery downtown. I took this picture when I went to the 523 Gallery as research for part of the June-July issue on special needs. So first I'm going to talk to you about obtaining the position. The initial thing that I did was contact Mrs. Amy Seraphin, who I actually know personally through my high school. She has a son that is my younger brother's age, and I got to talk to her a lot at sporting events, and I had expressed to her my interest in writing and that I was majoring in English, and as soon as I transferred back here, I got back in touch with her, and she asked me if I would be interested in maybe being an intern or a shadow at Augusta Family, and I told her that I was, and she was how I was able to get this position. After that, the next thing I did was reach out to my advisor, Dr. Heckman, who was so instrumental in setting this up as a course credit project for me. And she ended up sending me a student learning agreement, internship contract, journal template, syllabus, and a couple other documents for me to fill out, and was just so helpful in making this happen and allowing me to get course credit for this internship. The picture is from when Mrs. Seraphin and I went to some different local restaurants, and we were writing down different notes about them and just getting good ideas for dessert places for families to go to. So that one is from La Parisienne in Aiken. The course that this internship is listed under is ENGL 4961, and it's called Professional Writing Internship. But it was really just a course for me to enroll in order for me to get it to count as course credit. The tasks that I did as an intern, these were the ones that I did on pretty much a daily or weekly basis. Were editing copy, researching and writing calendar events, writing articles, working on photo shoots for covers, and format proofing on final files. And this picture is from LinkedIn, and it is of the building that I worked in. I worked in the news building, which also houses the Augusta Chronicle. And we were on the third floor for Augusta Family and for Augusta Magazine. That's the third floor. And I would usually just park in the public parking deck outside and meet with Ms. Seraphin, and we would go in together. And yeah, the building is really pretty, so I thought I'd include it. In terms of a daily schedule, it was kind of up to Mrs. Seraphin to decide with me. And if we were remote and she decided she wanted to work from home or from somewhere else, like she was taking some trips, I would have remote work, which I could make my own hours for. And that would be usually editing, calling, format proofing, etc. So things that I could do without need to be in an office, that I could do on my own, that she thought I was capable of doing without her being physically present to help me. And if I were in person, usually we would meet from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., sometimes a little bit over that, at least a 3-hour period when we met in person. And then I would take home the projects she gave me and continue working on them so that I could meet the hours requirement. Dr. Heckman had told me I needed 135 hours total. So Mrs. Seraphin and I worked together to make sure that we were on track for that. So the first thing that I worked on as an intern was editing and proofreading. So I have here a couple of pictures of things that I worked on. This first thing is the initial project that Ms. Seraphin sent me, and it is the special needs guide. This is what it looked like as a Word document on the left. It was what I worked on before I worked on anything else. And this is before it's in InDesign, which is the program they use to make the magazine. It's just in a Word document, and I alphabetized each of the individual sections. We were listing businesses that could help families with children with special needs. So that was what I did with that. I alphabetized it. I tested all of the links to make sure that if we put the guide online, families would be able to access the links properly. This project over here was something that I researched statistics for, but also that I organized from emails that Ms. Seraphin sent me. And essentially what I did with this is I proofread it in this PDF format from InDesign just to make sure that when we moved it from the Word document that she had to an InDesign format, that none of the grammar got changed or there weren't any missing words. I just proofread that to make sure that it looked correct. Here are two other examples. So this is a Google document of an article that Ms. Seraphin sent me so that I could track my changes and make it super easy for her to decide whether or not she wanted to implement them. So I just did it as suggestions. This particular article was one that Ms. Serafin had told me I would probably need to cut down sections of it because of the excessive word count, but also because she said that this particular contributing writer sometimes tends to go a little bit over and over on certain points, and she wanted me to kind of cut it down. So this is just one of the pages that I sort of cut down and changed some Oxford commas on. And this is the special needs guide again, but this is when it's in the InDesign format, and this was one of the final copies that I was proofing. And so you can see the circle that I had put on the PDF there when I sent it back to her to let her know that the title was not spaced properly, and she was able to let our designer, Mr. Rushbrook, know that and get it fixed. The next thing that I want to talk about is researching and write-ups. And what this usually entailed for me was reading articles on multiple websites. Usually Ms. Serafin would send me one or two articles that she thought were interesting and ask me to read up and look for other sources on them. Or I would transcribe data into a Word document from one website that she sent me that she particularly wanted to feature in the magazine. Then I would also use information from businesses' direct emails to Augusta Family, and that way we could feature the business, their products, prices, and whatever else Ms. Serafin wanted to include on the website. So two examples that are currently on the Augusta Family website are this write-up I did on Blippi the Musical, which is a kids musical of like singing and dancing with a character that kids can see online in like YouTube videos and on Hulu. This is the musical version that's coming to Augusta, so I did a brief write-up on that and how much tickets are going to be and where you can go see it. And the second write-up is about Petite Keep, which is a small business that Miss Amy wanted to feature so that they could get support from our readers. The next thing I wanted to show was the photo shoots that I was a part of. So when I was at the photo shoots, obviously there is a photographer for Augusta Family that does an awesome job. So I was just taking behind the scenes photos or just photos of art that Ms. Serafin could look at so she could decide what pieces she wanted to have professional photos taken of to feature when she did the final copy. So these are a few examples of that. The far left is the family that was featured on the June-July issue cover. The middle is a piece of art from the 523 gallery, and the right is the photographer with one of the kids from the upcoming cover of the August-September back-to-school issue. I included a couple more pictures. This selfie of me and Mrs. Serafin on the far left is one that she might want to include in the upcoming August-September issue. She wanted us to take selfies at each of the locations we went to, so this is one of them. The second one is a picture from inside Cindy's Sweet Shop, which is another one of the places that we visited. And on the far right is Miss Serafin with another one of the kids that will be featured on the upcoming cover. Some other tasks that I wasn't doing every day that I thought were worth noting were calling people or emailing people for quotes about features or people that had previously been featured in the magazine that she wanted updates on. I tallied a poll in Excel, but that was actually for Augusta Magazine. I did a few side projects for them while I was interning for Augusta Family. I took notes for the Parenting Media Association Awards. And I also created a sweet treats chart, which is a part of that different dessert places that we were visiting. I made a chart for her that she could put in the upcoming issue that has their websites, their favorite treat that they sell the most of, and some other information that people can use. Another thing we did was finding old issues in the warehouse. We visited where they store all of the old issues and found a few that we could look through while we were looking for the PMA awards and figuring out which issues to submit. And finally, visiting local dessert destinations. I talked about this already, but this picture on the left is me holding a box of macaroons at La Parisienne, and they were awesome. I had a really great time visiting all these places. I don't think I would have found them, or at least not as soon as I did, without this internship. Overall, the skills that I used for this internship were Excel, Word, phone interview, and email interview, and these were skills that I had previously used, but I really improved upon during my time as an intern. I also used a lot of Google Docs, which was not something that Miss Serafin uses a ton of, or at least that's what she told me. And so I feel like I sort of introduced her to it more because it was super easy for her and I to send Google documents back and forth. And you can also edit a Google document and have it changed directly into a Word document, which I showed her how to do. And so that was super helpful, I think. And here we have my last section, which is on format proofing final files. And so this link here is going to take us, hopefully, to a PDF of the magazine. We will just switch it here. There we go. So here it is, the PDF of the magazine. Now it's 40 pages, so it took a minute to load, but this is the cover. Like I was saying, this is the cover family. These are some advertisements. If you scroll, you will see my name under editorial intern in the mast, which is the section with all of the names. And then if you were to look in the table of contents, you can see the special needs directory, which is listed to me, and also the calendar. And I also did some work on tidbits. As part of my research, I also would look up puzzle ideas or sources that we could use for puzzles for kids to put in the tidbit section, or riddle ideas. And so that was part of my research as well. And the calendar, which I looked up events for, and I would organize by date or recurring or weekly and organize that. So this is the tidbit section, and these were statistics that I transcribed for her into a Google document from this one source, visually or visual.ly. And I organized these for her into a Word document, and then our designer, Mr. Rushbrook, put them into this beautiful infographic tree. This was the article Ms. Seraphin wrote on the 523 gallery that I visited. This is part of the tidbit section. This was the riddle that I found, and the fun fact that I found, and this Mad Libs that we got permission to use that I had found. This was the graduation section. You can see it looks a little funky in a PDF, but it would be 2 pages together making one big graphic. This is the page that I edited. This was the article about the featured family on the cover. This is the special kids, special needs guide that I had worked on. And so you can see it's pretty long, and the sections are alphabetized, and they're all in specific order of address, phone number, website, and then a blurb about each of them. And so I made sure that they were in that correct order. It's pretty long, so we're going to keep scrolling. This is the portion of the calendar that we could fit because of the page count that Ms. Seraphin said that we were allowed to have, just given like finances and costs. We had to move a lot of the calendar online. So if you go to the Augusta Family website, you can see the full calendar with all of the events that I had found and listed. But this is just a small portion of it, and you can see them all here. And that is it. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Dr. Heckman and Augusta University, and especially to Mrs. Seraphin and Augusta Family for making this happen. This has been the most wonderful experience. I have absolutely loved interning, and it has really just given me a great perspective on journalism, because in studying English, I feel like I don't get to see a ton of insight into what it's like to be a journalist, and I had a really great time just seeing what that was like and meeting everyone in the Augusta Family office and just seeing how each piece goes from like being a Word document to InDesign to becoming the full printed issue, and getting to see my name printed in a hard copy magazine was just a really wonderful experience for me. And I'm very excited because aside from the June-July 2021 issue, which is what I currently have pulled up, I have 2 articles that will be coming up in the August-September 2021 issue. And also I have Augusta Arts Awards sections that will be coming out in Augusta Magazine in their upcoming issue. So you can look for those as well. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.